Here are 15 tips and tricks you need to know for Neon. Make sure to like and sub if you enjoy the content. First up, Neon's slide resets after using her ultimate. If you haven't used it yet, you can double slide by sliding regularly, then activating ultimate, and then sliding again. This helps you gain some extra ground that can further throw off an enemy's aim.
There we go. Here we go.
Next up, Neon's slide helps her gain extra momentum in her jumps. This allows you to get into boost positions. For example, you can jump around many of the platforms on A site on Icebox quite easily. Perfect for getting into off angles and positions that you normally wouldn't be able to get to. You can get into container on screens easily, and also the platform on the left side of site, which you normally can't do without Raze, Jet, or Omen's abilities. You can also jump around here to the middle platform and then onto pipes for a fast position change to catch players off guard. Another position you can get to is on Haven. You can jump quickly onto the middle container, and then if you run towards the corner, you can get onto the double boxes on short. You can then play there or slide jump again onto the single double boxes. Plenty of off positions to choose from here. Third tip, Neon has some sick lineups with her stun that you can do to push sites. Most people think about stunning one specific area, but with lineups you can stun two very important spots. For example, on Ascent you can line your crosshair to the left edge of the double boxes. Throw your stun and you'll cover double boxes, Heaven, as well as Hell. Absolutely cracked. If you want to focus more on Gen and Heaven, you can bounce a stun off the sheath on the wall. Just aim slightly to the left of the generator and bada bing bada boom. Cracked. Speaking of lineups, Neon stuns don't have to be complicated, and it's not very complicated to hit the like and subscribe button, which you should definitely do. Most people try to aim it precisely at the position that they want. However, the area that Neon's stun will hit is wherever it first hits an object. So instead of trying to be precise and aiming for just one area, you can use the walls around it instead. Like in Market, you can hit the wall just above it or the walls to the side to get the same effect. This is way easier to do when you're in B Garage. By doing this, not only do you hit Market, but stairs as well if you bounce it towards the right side of the wall. Mega OP for your pushes. Following that up, utilize walls to fire your stuns to prevent exposing yourself to the enemy. If you're trying to hit a choke point, look for a wall that you can hit instead so that you don't have to actually peek out. For example, on the B side of Ascent, there are plenty of walls and surroundings you can use. If you want to be really fancy and safe, you can bounce your stun off the back wall to hit stairs or halls. This will be harder though, and you want to make sure you don't have any teammates in the back of sight, or you're probably going to tilt them. Tip number 6. Neon's walls act similarly to Phoenix's walls. If there's an elevated object blocking your way, your wall could end up being cut short. The key to avoiding this and maximizing your wall range is by aiming higher up. This will prevent those pesky objects like those damn stairs from messing you up.
This way. Coming through.
Tip number 7, it's important to note that Neon stuns go through walls. In certain situations, like when you're trying to clear behind certain boxes, you can just shoot it rather than bouncing it off. You'll only get one stun, but this guarantees you get the position that you want rather than trying to bounce it and potentially whiff the position. A good example is doors on Breeze, where you can just throw a stun at the door rather than exposing yourself to try to bounce it off the other wall. Moving forward until our enemies are destroyed, a common move that Neon players try to do is forming a wall to enter a site and then pushing out of the wall at the very end. The issue with this play is it's very predictable. Along with that, half the time I see players trying to do this, they push out into an incredibly exposed position. Thus, when they come out the wall, they're met with multiple enemies firing at them and they're dead. In most cases, you want to use the wall to create space to get into sites, but you don't have to push it. Get into a good angle and position and then wait for the wall to go down and then take on any enemies that show up. Tip number 9, we're going into Neon's slide, which only works if you are pressing the forward key. If you're only pressing the side key or backwards keys, you won't be able to slide with your E activated. You can hold W to slide forward, but you can also hold a side key with it to go diagonally to be a bit less predictable. Also, a very important note with Neon slide, you have to take a few steps with your E activated in order to have a slide available. I've had it happen quite often myself where I try to slide off the rip and it fails. So remember to build some momentum before you can actually slide. Tip number 11 is for Neon's ultimate. It does the same damage regardless of if you hit the head, body, or leg. Because of that, you should always aim for the body. No sense in making it harder to kill your enemies. When you're using her ultimate, you always want to be on the move. Each hit from her ult is only 22 damage, so unless you hit every shot, the time to kill can actually end up longer than with the rifle, which can one-tap you. You want to utilize Neon's mobility as much as possible to decrease the odds of you getting one-tapped and increase the odds of you landing shots and dodging enemy bullets. Aiming while moving can be quite tricky for players who are used to standing still before shooting. All our CSGO brothers, I feel ya. Because of this, it's important to practice your tracking if you're going to be a Neon main. I recommend going into the practice range and practice tracing the bots. Keep your crosshair on the enemy's head and then shift walk side to side while trying to maintain your crosshair at the head. Progress by running side to side to increase the difficulty and make it more translatable to real games. Going back into Neon slide though, always make sure you have your gun out before you run. When you slide, you pull out the last weapon that you had, so if you had your knife out, you're going to slide and look like a fool.
Gotta go. I'm out of here.
This is how Levi will look at you if you do this in front of a Titan, so don't do it. If you do forget and end up remembering mid-slide, you can quickly hit 1 to take out your weapon. However, this is going to be slower than if you had your gun pulled out already, so my brothers, please remember to pull it out. Tip number 14, Neon is OP at stopping heavy pushes. Unlike other agent abilities in Valorant, Neon's stun will shoot out immediately when you hit the ability key. It only takes another second to pop, which makes it super effective at slowing enemies that are charging at you. I did this a little late in this clip here, but still came out on top as the stun was so quick to throw out. From there, it was an easy peasy 2 kills. Again, Neon is really the only agent that can do this. Last but not least, use Neon slide to reposition. When going against an enemy, it's not the best idea to re-peek an angle that you were just at. The enemy's already set up their crosshair, and once you show up, they'll shoot you, and what do you know? You're dead. Instead, you want to change up the angle, and Neon's E and slide are perfect for doing so. You can use the momentum from the E to run to a new location, and then slide to make for a wider angle that the enemy has to flick over to. The weapon pull time after the slide is actually pretty quick, making this a viable option. We hate it, but hey, slide and gun baby. Last but not least, when playing defense as Neon, you want to always save part of your energy bar for rotations. Rotations are one of the strongest points of Neon, as her E lets her rotate from site to site incredibly fast compared to other agents. This is extremely useful for helping hold down sites. Your teammate calls where they're hitting, and then by the time the enemy can push, you're already there and ready to help. That's all we have for today's video. If you enjoyed it, make sure to leave a like and subscribe. We have more Neon content coming out soon for you guys, so stay tuned for that. I'm Dr. Zora. Yes, I am a real doctor, no cap, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.